Hi guys, it's Diana here, and I'm here to make the ruched top that just came out from Manila and Mac, and I'm so excited. This top has so many options. It is great for all kinds of things, and so today I'm making the first thing you have to do is decide what option you want, and that is the hardest thing because there are so many. There's tank, there's short sleeve, long sleeve, all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna do the long sleeve, and I'm gonna do the thumb hole arm bands. So I'm excited about that. So I've already cut out my pieces, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So let's do this together. So I have my pieces, and I already did one side of the top. So the same thing that I did on this side is what we're gonna do on this side. So it's the same thing on both sides. So we'll go ahead and do that. So here's my back piece of my shirt. I'm sorry, this is the front piece of my shirt. I'm just laying it flat out. And here's one of my back pieces, making sure that I'm lining up the right side because they're both cut out. You're gonna cut out two pieces of the back, so you don't want to put the neckline on the on the armsicle side, on the armpit side, but you want to go ahead and make sure that you are using the right side because the neckline is just a little bit lower. So we're gonna go ahead and meet it at the shoulders and pin, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sew that shoulder seam right there. I did the same thing on the other side. We're gonna sew that shoulder seam. Okay, so after that shoulder seam is done, we're gonna go ahead and do the sleeve. So you gotta make sure that you're not sewing the neckline. Again, you don't want to sew the sleeve to the neckline. So you want to make sure that you are actually grabbing the arm band, the arm side, because it kind of looks a little bit alike if you open it up. Neck, sleeve. So you have to make sure that you look at the right side. So here's my long sleeve, and I'm gonna mark the center of it. And the way that I usually do that is I always kind of notch it a little bit, just a tiny bit, so I can see where the center is. And then I'm gonna grab that center mark, and I'm gonna put it right at the center of my sleeve, where I did the shoulders. And then we're gonna go out to one side and just put the sleeve on this side all the way around to the other side. Guys, I am so excited about this top. Literally, I just told you there were so many options, but there are, and it's more than just what sleeve length and stuff like that you want. It's also the fit. There are so many different kinds of fits, and they all look amazing. I'm going with the fitted. So yes, but you can choose whatever you think would look best, or you can make one of each. Probably gonna have to make one of each because they just look really cool. Okay, so I tacked my sleeve on, so now I'm gonna go ahead and sew it on. I'm just serging it. If you're doing armbands, you would not be doing this right now, obviously. If you're doing a tank, I'm going to show you in a minute what you do. If you're doing a tank, you skip this step right here. But this is the step for if you're doing short sleeve, long sleeve, 3/4 sleeve, whatever kind of sleeve, this is the step you would be on. But if you're doing a tank, I'm going to show you in a minute, as soon as I'm done with this, what you would do. Always making sure you're catching both fabrics so you don't have a hole in your arm. Okay, now my sleeve is on, right there. But if you're doing a armband, if you're doing tank, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word. You would skip this part and you would go straight to the sides and put the sides together, which is our next step for this, the one with the sleeves. Our next step is to put the sides together. So here's my back side and my sleeve, and then here's my front side. So I'm laying it right sides together, right on top, and I'm gonna pin it so I meet the seam where the armpit goes, and go all the way down first. I'm gonna go all the way down. Now, if, like I said, if you're doing the armbands, this is the part that you're doing right now. You're gonna sew this up. But if you're doing the sleeves, then you know you do the sleeve first. But if you're doing the armband, you would sew this side up first together, and then the armhole you would quarter and do the armbands just like you do the neckline. Actually, this neckline is a little bit different. You would do the arm sides, the bands, just like you do the band, the cuffs. So you would quarter the arm and make sure they're all even, the neck bands, and then you would sew them on like you would sew other neck bands or even the cuffs on. So you just sew that on. But because we're doing the sleeve, I did the sleeve in first, and then we're sewing the side. So we're going to go ahead and sew the whole side up. So yes, I pinned it all the way, and raw edges, right sides together, and now I'm going to go ahead and sew. Making sure both fabrics are on there. That pin was facing the wrong way. It's about to bite me in the face. Almost there. Whoop. This part right here is not pinned. Alright, so now that we've gone ahead and sewed up the sides, now it looks like a little sweater. Both sides are on, because I did all the same steps that I just did on this side, I did them on the other side. So you're going to go ahead and do that. Now we're going to go ahead and hem. If you're not doing cuffs on your sleeves, you can go ahead and hem your sleeve. But since I am doing cuffs, I'm not hemming my sleeve, but I am going to go ahead and hem my shirt, because when you go to do the ruched back, you should already have it all hemmed. So we're folding it half an inch up, and yes, I already hemmed this one side so that you don't have to sit there and watch me hem my whole shirt. So that's why that side is already hemmed. So usually I just eyeball it on bed like that. Is that bad? I feel like I kind of know what half an inch is, so I just eyeball it. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and hem. If you're not doing cuffs on your shirt, then you go ahead and hem that. But I am doing cuffs, so I'm not hemming my sleeve. If you're doing 3/4 sleeve and short sleeve and all that stuff, you can go ahead and hem it. So I'm going to hem real quickly. When I hem, I'm always making sure I'm looking at where the foot is going. I'm not looking at the needle, I'm looking at the foot and matching it up to my fabric. Because if you're looking at the needle is such a small part of the whole situation. And sometimes that gets crooked. So I always make sure I look at where my fabric is compared to the foot. Alright, so now that's hemmed, and hold on, there we go. And so I have the hem, and I've got sleeve on, both sleeves on, kind of looks like a little sweater. And so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the neckband. We're going to move on to the neckband. After we hemmed it, now's the neckband. And here's my neckband. And the first thing we're going to do is right sides together. We're going to fold it down the middle, right sides together, meeting the raw edges at the top. And we're going to steam. So I already did that, so I'm just steaming. and you're gonna go all the way down, fold it down the middle. Then you open it up and you have the middle crease. So then on the middle crease, we're gonna fold each side into the middle crease. So we're gonna fold it in the top. So here's my middle crease. We're folding these sides in. So here's my whole band. First I made a middle crease. I opened it up. Now the two sides are coming into the middle to make like a, you know, like just come in like this. So they're gonna meet at the middle. And so I'm gonna steam that. And I already did all the way down before I talk to you guys, so you don't have to see me steaming. So then what I'm gonna do is, now they're like this, two seams meeting at the middle, if that makes sense. And now we're gonna close them up. So we're gonna fold them into each other to fold that up, and it like ends up like this. Here's the edge, just like that. So I'm gonna open it so you can see it. The two sides are meeting at the middle crease, and now I'm gonna close them up. So I'm gonna close them up and steam that again. So you have all those creases right there ready for you. Okay, now that I've done that, one second. Now that I've done that, I'm gonna attach it to my neckband. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do to attach it to my neckband is I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna measure my neckband, and I'm gonna measure my my ties so I can match them up evenly. Okay, so this down here will obviously be your back piece back here, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the front is even. So we'll match these two back here, and we'll go to the, we'll match the shoulder seams, and we'll go to the front, shoulder seams, and we'll go to the front, and that's where my front will be. So I'm going to clip that. But now what we'll do next is we'll match these back seams and match it to the front where I marked it, and I go to the side, because it's not going to be right at the shoulder seam. It's going to be a little bit off of that. So I'm going to mark that too. And then I'm going to do the same thing to go out to the other side. So now they're even. Oh, my quarter points are even right here. And then I'm going to mark my neckband. Now I'm not going to clip my neckband because it's not a raw edge. It's folded, so I want to kind of, I don't want to clip it. So, but we are opening it up. But we're going to go ahead and fold it in half. You can open it up. Sorry. It wants to stay together. I just need you up for a little bit. Okay, fold it in half. And here is that half point right here. So I'm going to pin it. And then now I can come in like this to the middle. Here's my half point. So we're coming into the middle. And so when we go out to the side, this will be my 1/4 point. So I'm going to mark it right there. And then we go out to the other side from the middle, and this will be my other 1/4 point. Mark it right there. So now all I have to do is match up. So what we're doing is we're matching up the right side of the neckband to the wrong side of the neck. So here's my metal. So the right side of the neckband, where I marked my metal, is gonna meet the right side to the wrong side of the bodice. And I'm gonna meet those points where I marked them. All the way down. 1 second, let me make sure, because I am, yes, so that's right, but I know why I'm getting confused, because I am putting them this way. All right, right side, but you're gonna meet the raw edge. Yes, that's why I was getting confused. I'm like, this does not look right. Okay, so here's the raw edge of the top of the band. So we're gonna meet those raw edges together. That makes more sense. Sorry, that was like a, what? I know I'm doing it right, but why is it not looking right? Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and meet those where I marked it. Now you shouldn't have to pull real tight to get this on. You might have to stretch just a tiny bit, but you shouldn't have to stretch very much. All the way down. Thank you guys. Keep me on my toes. I know you're not talking to me, but I feel like you are. Feel like you're screaming at my screen. Don't do it, don't do it. Okay, so here's my mark right here. Okay, raw edges. So we're doing the right side of the band to the wrong side of the shirt. So this is the wrong side of the shirt and this is the right side of the band, and the band is open, so it's meeting the raw edge of the shirt. So now we're gonna go ahead and sew that on. Like I said, you're gonna be stretching, sorry, my chair. You're gonna be stretching just a little bit, but not very much. And I always do neck band face up. That way I can see how much I'm serging. But make sure that you are meeting those quarters and pulling it tight, and well, you don't have to pull it. You just have to kind of hold it. And then you want to make sure that you're getting both fabrics in. Go. All the way around. Almost there. Halfway there. All the way. Sorry, I gotta make sure that my edges are meeting up. And the last part. Sometimes they tend to curl, so you gotta make sure that they're all there. So my neck band is on. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it back up. We're gonna fold the neck band back up where the memory hem seam was. We're folding it back up. And then we're gonna go ahead and press it so that the seam is encased. See that little seam? It's going to be encased, so we're folding it back up so it can be encased. My iron seems to always want to turn off, so we're encasing that seam. Go ahead and pin it because it's gonna give me trouble and want to come back down. Here we are. You're encasing that seam. And then after we encase that seam, you can stitch it. We're going to go ahead and sew it up using your preferred method. So you can do, if you have a cover stitch, or if you want to do, if you have a stretch stitch. That's what I'll be doing. Stretch stitch on my sewing machine. If you have a double needle that you use, you will need some stretch on here. Almost there, guys. I'm so excited. I hope you're just as excited as I am. And being that it's getting a little chillier, that's why I went with the long sleeve. And I love thumb holes on my for my hands. I don't know why. It's weird. I love it. I don't think it's weird. Is it weird? Obviously it's not weird because it's on this pattern, which means I cannot be the only one who loves thumb holes. So there we go. I'm cool. Alright. Here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew that with a stretch stitch on my sewing machine. Like I said, you can do it with your cover stitch or however it is that you want to do it. But this is just what I have, so this is what I'm doing. Making sure that that doesn't move out of the way so that your that seam is encased. To put very many pins, so if you need to pin it more than I did, by all means, pin away. Pins and I have a love-hate relationship. I love them, but I also hate them. Tell me I'm not the only one. There, guys, look, I only have a little bit left. Come on. That was the last pin, so yay. Ha. And it didn't tell me, but my thread came undone. Don't you just love it when your machine just does whatever it wants? And then you get done doing what you thought you were doing, and all of a sudden you realize that you weren't doing it all along. Okay, it wasn't too bad. It was just a little bit, but that's okay. Has that ever happened to you? Happened to me before. Get to the end of something and then you realize, well, the whole thing didn't sew. Okay, so here it is, my neck. It's done. I did it with my stretch stitch. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing the Decapitating top. I love it, so cute. Anyway, okay, so my neckband is done. So now what I need to do is the raw edges on the back of my shirt. I'm gonna finish those up. The backs of my shirt, so you can finish those edges up however you want to finish them. They're going to be encased, so you won't be able to see it, but you still need to finish them up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do it with my serger. I don't know why that got caught right there, but okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish them up with my serger. Okay, and then now that that's finished up, we're gonna go ahead and sew the backs together. So here's my back, here's my one back. Whoop, here's my pins, trying to poke me. And then I'm gonna grab my other back. It's gonna come around and it's gonna go right on top. I'm gonna put them right on top of each other. And I'm going to sew them. Now I am not serging, I am sewing with a 1/2 inch allowance. And the reason why I'm giving that allowance is because when I open it, I'm going to encase that allowance so that my straps will go in there for my ruching effect. So I want to make sure that I have that allowance. Now, if you need to measure and pin, you can. Your sewing machine has it on here usually, so you can just do that. But it's really up to you what method you do. But just make sure that you're leaving a 1/2 seam allowance. I mean 1/2 inch. I said 1/2 seam. I mean 1/2 inch. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, now you're going to, oh, sorry, my chair is messy. Now you're going to go ahead and open it up and steam it, and that's when you're going to sew it up. But let's leave that there for now, and let's move on to what you actually do with the little strap. Now on the pattern it tells you to cut one long strap, 1.5 inches, and the 60-inch wide, but you can do 2 if you want to, and then put them together. It's up to you really, but I'm just doing the one long one, so that's what I'm doing. And then I folded it in half, right sides together. So this is the wrong side, right sides together. And now I'm gonna go ahead and serge to the edge. So I'm gonna close it up. So it's like one long strap. Take some of these pins off. So I'm just closing it up. That is one long strap. So yeah, like I said, you could cut 2 if you needed to, like if you know, fabric permitting, whatever you needed to do. Then you would just put them together. Oh, I almost went in. Woo. Did you see that? It jumped. Okay. So now, using your preferred method, I have this little handy dandy tool. I'm gonna turn it inside out. Right side out. Right side out. Come on. Almost there. It's like a little worm. See if this works. Right side out. Whoops. Almost there. Here it is. Okay, so here it is. Here's my piece. Sorry. still trying to turn it right side out. There we go. And here's my strap. Almost there, almost there. Okay, here we go. My strap is completed. So now that I already, my strap is completed, and I can knot it at the bottom so it doesn't come up and down, but I'll do that later. But my back is on. Sorry, I have little pieces of string. Okay, and so now that I have my back open, I'm gonna go ahead and sew it on. Sew the strap, the back down, tack it down, and you're gonna leave that space right there. That's where your cord is gonna go through, your little string that you already made. So you gotta make sure that you're sewing along the edges. And then after you do that, so I'm gonna do one side so I can show you. Making sure you're not catching the front bodice and getting it in there. You're just supposed to be sewing the back. After you do that, so it's encased right now, you want to use your preferred method, which would be this little guy right here, and stick it through. And then you're gonna pull through that hole. You're gonna pull your casing. Your strap. Okay, and that will give you the ruching on the back. But I'm gonna go ahead and that's it. That's your top is done. So if you already hemmed your sleeves, that's it. Your top is done. All you're doing is you just put in that strap in. But because I'm doing my cuffs, I'm gonna show you real quickly how to do those cuffs. So here's my cuff, and I'm gonna fold it right sides together and steam. Then I'm gonna find the middle. So here's my middle. And I'm going to mark it. I'm gonna mark it. I'm not going to mark it. I'm gonna mark it. You know what I'm saying? This little piggy went to mark it. Okay, sorry. Okay, so then I'm gonna measure from the middle. I'm gonna go out 1 inch to one side and mark that. And then I'm gonna go out 1 inch to the other side and mark that. And then from the 1 inch mark, I'm gonna go out 1.5 inches to one side and mark it. And 1.5 inches to the other side and mark that. And now I'm stuck with that rhyme on my head. Anyway, so now what you're gonna do is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. You're going to sew from where the 1.5 inch opening is. You're not going to sew that up. You're not gonna sew those two spaces up. You're gonna sew, don't sew. And there's a diagram online on your pattern, so you can look at that and it'll help you with that. But you're sewing, not sewing, sewing, not sewing, sewing. Now, if you're not doing thumb holes, then you just sew the way straight through. But if you are, then that's how you're doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm using a stretch stitch. So I'm sewing. Okay. Not sewing. Sewing. Not sewing. And then sewing again. And see if you can see it right here. sewn, not sewn, sewn, not sewn. So you have those little 1.5 inches, 1.5 inch openings. Sorry, I can't speak. I've been teaching Spanish, and Spanish is my first language. So when I teach Spanish, I get more used to speaking Spanish, and then my English is a mess. Okay, so now I'm opening the seam allowance and steaming it together. Okay, and now I'm gonna fold it right sides out, and I'm gonna meet where the thumb holes are. This is so cool. I'm so excited. Like, now we can make thumb holes. Oh, I'm gonna do that to everything. It wasn't even that hard, was it? No? Okay, yeah, we're not 100% done, but we're almost done. Okay, so where I'm meeting where the thumb holes are. Bloop, bloop. So now you gotta make sure your seam allowances are in, and I'm gonna match those up, and then I'm gonna sew around it. So that it stays together. Come on. All right, here I go. Make sure you don't catch the bottom. That's gonna be the hardest part, I think, not catching the bottom. But you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Ah! Thank you, machine, for nothing. It wasn't sewing. So I was so confident. And my bottom part was free and clear. And I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm going to have it. I'm almost done. And then I find out my machine is not sewing. Okay, here we go again. Let's try this again. Okay. All the way. Making sure that they're both together. Come on. Okay, now I'm turning to the other side. There we go. Look at this. Cut that tail. I have a thumb hole. That is so cool. Okay, so now how do I attach it to my sleeve? I already attached one, so I'm gonna do the other one. And I'm going to put this right into my sleeve. And I'm gonna meet the raw edges at the top. So there's that seam. I'm meeting the seams together so that I don't have a million seams falling off, but really I'm just meeting the raw edges at the top. And then I'm going to serge all the way around that sleeve real quickly. Guys, I am done with this top. It looks so complicated because it looks so cool, and you're like, oh my goodness, can I make that? Yes, you can. And you're going to love it. I can't wait. All I have to do for mine is just put all right, so here's my cuff. I just steamed that down. And like I said, all I have to do to mine is put my strap on the back and rouge it, and it's done. My top is done. I love it, and I hope you love it too. When you make yours, or your many makes, go ahead and post it on our Facebook page. We'd love to see it. Thank you for coming along with me for this sew along, and have a great day. See you later.